And they came up, and so Michael hadn't seen these kids in a while and didn't have any kind of real relationship with these kids. He had helped the boy, Gavin, with the cancer, and he'd given them a lot of things here and there, a computer and a car to use and whatever, to help with their financial problems. But at the end of the day, he didn't know these people. So he was told, for the interview, hold hands with Gavin. And, Bashir allegedly was directing this and kind of inched Gavin's head onto Michael Jackson's shoulder. And this, according to Jackson's attorneys, who told me that Michael later said, why is this kid leaning on me? I don't even know how this happened. It wasn't my intention to be, cradling this kid. This was, but he was in the moment with the cameras running, and he didn't want to look like he didn't care about the kid. So, was it set up? From what I understand, absolutely. Would I have any doubt in my mind that Bashir would stoop to that? No doubt in my mind.
Okay, and I have another question regarding the two jurors after the trial. Name was Eleanor Cook and Ray Holtman. They signed book deals to lie and say Michael Jackson was guilty. When they lost the book deals when they were caught plagiarizing Maureen Orth from Vanity Fair. And it's just amazing how they can get book deals to lie and say he was guilty, but you couldn't get a book deal to say he was innocent.
Well, it is it is amazing, and if you think about it, it's pretty scary that we live in a world where there are people higher than we are who make decisions as to what you're going to hear, what you're going to read, and what you're going to see. And we don't have anything too much to say about it, except now with the internet we do. But if you think about it, we've all been subject to some kind of censorship for, that we think we have so much freedom. And the truth is that nobody wanted a positive Michael Jackson book out at the time because they wanted to perpetuate during his lifetime that he was this monster and he was this freak. And that was made money for them in headlines and in
the media.
In the media. And, I couldn't believe it when I went to them. I was working with a jury foreman about a book that showed, it was being called Michael Jackson, Innocent. And they didn't want it. They did not want it. I was told point blank, you're not going to publish it. So at that point, I moved on in life, and I decided to just do what was right and take my own chances, just because I felt I had to do that. But as far as the jurors are concerned, who had these quote book deals about that Michael Jackson was guilty, first of all, shame on them. They took an oath in a courtroom. I sat with those people too every day for 6 months or 8 months, whatever it was. I watched them get selected and everything else. You know what? You take an oath that you're going to follow the letter of the law, that you're going to hold yourself to the standard of the law of this country, and in God we trust. And you're going to, after sitting in a deliberation room for days and looking at all the evidence, after months and months of testimony, you're going to decide you voted not guilty and you were coerced. So now you want to talk about why you think he's guilty? What kind of an oath is that? What kind of a person does that? Shame on these people that they would put disgrace to our justice system that way. If you really thought he was guilty, then by God, you should have voted not guilty, like every other juror and jurist who takes an oath to stand forth in a trial. But they were looking for money, and they didn't get any book deals at the end of the day, because guess what? No one wanted to read their goofy books. Right. I don't believe their books ever came out.
It didn't.
Okay. There you go.
One last question. What's the status of a 2-hour documentary?
The documentary I want to do of Michael Jackson, I'm at this point, my show True Crime is being renewed, which is news that I shouldn't be announcing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really shouldn't be announcing it because we're not officially there yet, but it is happening, and we're gearing up for a new season, and I believe I will absolutely do. Once we're ready to roll, I will do an hour on Michael Jackson and the Conrad Murray investigation. And at that point, if it's appropriate for me to do more than an hour, I will do it. If not, it will be an hour. But I'm not finished with the story of Michael Jackson, especially since there's a homicide that we're looking at.
You're right. Exactly. Dave, thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
I got several questions, and we have another caller. Yep. I'm trying to get to these questions. Apparently, they don't want to wait till they're calling with their questions.
All right, well, let's take the caller.
Okay, probably cancel a bunch of more of them off my list.
Maybe. Valerie, San Francisco, how you doing?
Valerie, you there?
Valerie, you there?
Uh-oh.
We lost her.
Uh-oh, I might have lost her. Valerie?
It's got dead silence.
Yeah, sure sounds like that's true.
We'll see if she calls back. Maybe we
Valerie, if you can hear me, call back or turn your computer off. There is a great delay. Oh, no, she's out of there. All right. Go ahead, Bon. What questions you got?
Okay. Angie K74 says that she's heard somewhere that there was a hoax that Michael didn't actually die.
He's in Florida.
Any
Who said that
thoughts
to
on
me?
that?
Somebody said that to me today.
Well, my thoughts on that are as follows. It's
He's in
funny. I just did a
Cancun.
radio show last week about this. It was addressed.
He got a job at the Home Depot because they got good benefits. Is that? I heard that. I don't know.
He's at the Home Depot?
Yeah, he's getting qualified on the forklift.
I think he's walking around with Elvis somewhere.
That would be quite a shame.
Truthfully, there are many people who believe and want to believe that Michael Jackson is still alive, and I can understand that because
I would love to believe that myself.
you know what? It's such a shock and a loss to the community at large, and he was so loved by the people who loved him. Michael Jackson was either loved or he was reviled. There was almost no in between. And the people who loved him to death. And I can see where people would want to think maybe there's some publicity stunt, but the fact of the matter is that notwithstanding that I covered the memorial service for Fox News, and notwithstanding that I was in and around the family recently during the Conrad Murray hearing and looking at real tears, and also there at the hearing when Katherine Jackson was awarded Paris and Prince and Michael too, that would not have happened. I would not have been sitting in a courtroom behind Catherine and LaToya crying and Rebby and in a room full of people about custody for children. Michael Jackson loved his children way too much. In my opinion, there's no way on this earth, that he would do that to his children, that he would take his, life or pretend he's gone in order to satisfy some kind of publicity stunt.
Right,
it's just
absolutely.
not,
No.
it's not even fathomable. He would never do that to his mother. He would never do that to his children.
Yeah, I don't think he'd do that.
So for those people who say that it's a hoax or want to, talk about false allegations or false, they think that he's alive somewhere. God bless. I'll never ever believe that.
No, I think he's truly gone. But Buttercup says that he's apparently talked about doing that several times. But I think a lot of people probably did,
Just disappearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody gets a little down on themselves. And, I think Michael Jackson kind of disappeared. He went and bought his own country, didn't he? But you know what? And I can appreciate all the people that think that maybe, somebody killed him, or maybe he wanted to disappear, or maybe there was a lot of people really that hated him. But the bottom line is, when I heard he was doing another tour, I was like, oh no. That was my first thing was, he's going to do another tour. He announced he's doing another tour. I'm like, oh boy. And I'm thinking, because, he hasn't done it in a while. And I'm thinking, boy, this could go two ways. And the bad way, I mean, in my eye, because Michael Jackson, everything he's done has always been, he's always set the bar for everybody, not only in music on a playing aspect, but a performance aspect, sound systems, video,
Right.
just everything. He set the bar, and I'm like, oh boy.
How's he going to top himself?
I'm like, he hasn't been in it for a while, and I'm thinking this is not going to finish well, I don't think. That was my first thought. And
Really?
Then the tickets went on sale, and he sold out almost 1 million tickets in 2 minutes, to the point where they broke the computers for the ticket sales, or else they would have surpassed that. And I'm thinking, he's back.
Yep.
He's back.
Yep.
And then I started hearing from the performance side of it, guys that were working for him at the arena there where he was practicing and things, on chats, because I'm a professional sound engineer also, and I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be something. And I'm like, this is going to be.
I mean, if you saw this,
he's going to set more records, and that's the kind of Michael Jackson I've always remembered. My Michael Jackson that I've always remembered. Everything he does is like, oh my God! Now look how we got to go that much further.
He was doing that with This Is It. I mean, he was going to the limit.
That's what I heard.
Well, if you see the movie, you've got to see the movie. You'd be stunned to see his voice was in such great shape, that he was in such great shape, that he was able to dance and move and be in control of every single second of that performance and everything around around it and all the design and costume and extras and lights. And I mean, this man was beyond a musical genius. And his dance, I mean, just everything about him, he didn't lose it. He never lost it. He went out on a very high note, I will say that.
No, absolutely. And that's what I heard. But my first inclination when I heard it, I was like, I thought about it, but I was like,
I got a question of my own here. I've been holding on to a statement that Love Is Mike wants me to read for you, but I figured I'll save that for a little bit later because it's really nice the way it's written. But you put something else on here that said they think that Jermaine and Larry King should remove their cameras from his resting place. They have cameras where he's laid out?
Well,
security cameras while he's in the...
I
don't know. Somehow I have a feeling
he's in the mausoleum.
No, it's not security cameras. What's happening is that on Friday there's going to be... They're opening up Forest Lawn Cemetery so that the fans can be there to have a memorial. I was actually invited to the memorial service by through the family for Friday, and I cannot attend because I'm in New York and I'm gearing up for my next series, and I can't. This invitation came very last minute today, actually. There's no way I can fly tomorrow. My book is coming out actually in Italian on Friday, the day of his anniversary of his death. And I'm doing a news thing with the Italian TV tomorrow. And then, my assistant wanted me to figure out a way to fly to LA for one day to go to the memorial service. And as much as I would love to be there, I would be so sad. And to go all that way, to just be grieving.
Should I put on a clean T-shirt? Is that what you're telling me? Should I get over there?
You want to go to the Michael Jackson memorial? I'm sure there would be a lot of people who would like to go. I'm not big on funerals and memorials.
No,
I have
I'm
to
not.
tell you. It's
Not.
very sad to me when I had to cover it for Fox. And sit there and watch all of that with Michael in the casket. It was so heart-wrenching. So I don't care how many people sang songs and all the wonderful things that were said. I just remember Michael being in a casket at the end, his daughter, crying about him being a good father.
I'm not big on those either.
Horrifying.
So you don't know anything about those cameras? They still want to know.
Oh, the cameras? Wait a minute. Yes, I know about the cameras. If Larry King is there, that means that he and
Why didn't they
Jermaine
have
are
an open
probably
casket?
planning to.
That's a question that just came up.
They're probably planning to, tape something there on the day that there's the memorial service. I mean, they're going to do an interview about. I know King is doing an interview with the idea that the family believes there was a conspiracy involved in the death of Michael, so maybe they're going to shoot it from there. I can't answer you. I'm not on the CNN news team, but I'm guessing that if King has cameras there, there's a reason it has to do with news.
Right.
What was your question? Why isn't it an open casket?
Yeah, why wasn't it an open casket? And then some of the people here are saying that he wanted to be cremated, not buried.
Well, I don't know. Everybody has their own rights and desires, but Michael Jackson did pick out that casket. In fact, I'm sure his fans know that he saw that gold casket when he went to the funeral of James Brown. And that was right after he was exonerated, actually, in 2005, I recall it, or was it right before? I know it was in around that time period. In any event, he saw that gold casket that was James Brown was in and determined that he wanted that. So he had chosen that casket. I'm sure he also, if he chose his casket, had some kind of wishes about whether he wanted to be shown in. I personally would never want people to see me dead.
No.
I just wouldn't.
In an open casket? No.
No, I would not want to have an open casket. So who knows if that was his wish or not. I have a copy of his last will and testament in that there's no reference to what his desires were to be buried, but I can only say I would imagine that there wasn't an open casket because the family chose not to have an open casket, not because there wasn't anybody in the box, which I think is what the question really pertains
Probably
to.
was.
Right.
I think that's what they're beating around the bush. Huh?
Yeah. About your thing in Italy, they want to know what channel.
It's called Sky TV.
Okay.
And let me just take a look here. The book is in Italian. It's called Il Complotto, which is, I guess, means the conspiracy. And the show I'm going to be doing is with Paola Salvisi on Sky TV at 14:30 Italian time tomorrow. So that I believe it's 2:30 in the afternoon New York City, East Coast time. So